Hi, kindergarten. Welcome back to math. I thought we could start by counting numbers up to 20. Will you count with me? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's keep going. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Great job! Give yourself a round of applause. Do you think we could go backwards? Let's try it. I'm going to erase them as we count them, okay? Ready? 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great job, kindergarten. Now, can you help me color in 12 boxes? When I color in with my marker, why don't you pretend to color in with your finger? Are you ready? Remember, we have to color in 12. And I have 10 here and 10 here. Okay, ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Am I done? You're right. We have to keep going. Ready? 11, 12. Great job. Can you tell me what number comes before 12? What comes before 12? I'll give you a minute to think about it. If you're thinking 11, you're right. Let's draw an 11. Remember, 2 sticks. How many pennies or boxes do I have now? Remember, we colored 12 boxes. What do I need to do to show 11 boxes? Do I need to add another one, or maybe I need to take one away? You're right. Now I have 11 boxes. I have 10, 11. What number comes after 12? 11, 12. I'll give you a hint. That's the first number. Do you know what comes next? 13. Exactly. Now, how many boxes do I need to color to show 13? I have 10, 11, 12, 13. Now let's review the days of the week. Let's start with the first day. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Can you tell me what's the first day of the week? Sunday. You're right. What is the third day of the week? Tuesday. What is the sixth day of the week? Friday is the sixth day of the week. And what is the last day of the week? Saturday. Monday is which day of the week? Is it the first day of the week? No. Is it the second day of the week? Yeah, Monday is the second day of the week. Wednesday is which day of the week? First, second, third, fourth. Wednesday is the fourth day of the week. Can you say fourth? Fourth. Thursday is which day of the week? First, second, third, fourth, fifth. Fifth day. Thursday is the fifth day of the week. Yesterday, we talked about how to tell time, and we talked about using our time wisely. Now, sometimes you do different activities in the morning than you do at night. Now, the morning, you might think that the sun wakes up, you wake up, you might hear birdies chirping, you might get ready for school, eat some breakfast. What might you do in the afternoon? The afternoon. Maybe you eat lunch, maybe you come home from school, maybe you play outside, maybe you talk with your friends. And then at nighttime, we go to bed. We sleep. Maybe we eat dinner before nighttime. The moon and the stars come out. It's dark. So there's different activities that you do in the morning, in the afternoon, and the night. Do you remember my clock from yesterday? Well, I'm going to put a time on the clock, and I'm going to tell you an activity that Mrs. Brown or Farmer Brown does, and I want you to tell me what time it is. Do you think you can do that? Okay, ready? The first one says, this is when Mrs. Brown gets up in the morning time. So she wakes up at this time. What time is it? 6 o'clock. You're right. Mrs. Brown wakes up at 6 o'clock. Do you remember how we write 6 o'clock? We put our number, dot, dot, 0, 0. 6 o'clock. This is when Mrs. Brown makes her breakfast. What time is this? 7 o'clock. You're right. Mrs. Brown makes her breakfast at 7 o'clock. And this is when Mrs. Brown collects her eggs from the hen house. What time is this? 8 o'clock. You're right. The hour hand is pointing at the 8. 8 o'clock. This is when Mrs. Brown makes her bed and does housework. Mrs. Brown is very busy in the morning. What time does this say? 9 o'clock. This is when Mrs. Brown weeds the garden. What time does Mrs. Brown weed the garden? 10 o'clock. This is when Mrs. Brown eats lunch with Farmer Brown. Do you remember what this time is? Where is the hour hand? Oh, he's peeking out. He's pointing to the 12. So what time is it? 12 o'clock, you're right. So Mrs. Brown eats lunch at 12 o'clock. Do you think the activities that she does before eating lunch is in the morning, afternoon, or nighttime? You're right. They're morning activities. All of the activities she does before 12 o'clock are morning activities. What are some activities you do in the morning? Maybe you wake up. Do you brush your teeth? and we eat our breakfast. Those are some morning activities. Now we're going to talk about activities in the afternoon. Can you say afternoon? Great. What do you hear when I say after noon? I hear two words. I hear the word after and noon. The word noon means 12 o'clock. So noon means 12. So afternoon means after 12 o'clock. So now I want to tell you the story about what Mrs. Brown does after 12 o'clock or in the afternoon. This is when Mrs. Brown goes to buy her groceries. What time does Mrs. Brown buy her groceries? You're right, 2 o'clock. This is when Mrs. Brown mends her clothes. She sews for a little bit in the afternoon. But what time does she do this? 3 o'clock. You're right. This is when Mrs. Brown takes some lemonade to Farmer Brown. What time does she do this? 4 o'clock. You're right. These are the activities that Mrs. Brown does in the afternoon. What are activities that you do in the afternoon? Can you think of any? Maybe you usually come home from school in the afternoon. Maybe you go outside in the sunshine. Maybe you take a nap. Maybe you eat a snack. Do you do any homework or read a book? Do you play with friends? These are some activities you might do in the afternoon. Now, sometimes people eat dinner at different times. Some people eat dinner at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. But sometimes people eat dinner later, like at 6 o'clock, or maybe even 7 o'clock. What time do you eat dinner? That sounds fun. I eat dinner at 5 o'clock. Now, dinner is sometimes called a nighttime activity, but that doesn't mean it's always dark outside. Right now, it doesn't get dark until about 7 o'clock. So when I eat dinner, even though it's a nighttime activity, there's still sunshine outside. Now I need to finish my story with Mrs. Brown. Can you tell me, what time does she eat supper? Mrs. Brown eats supper at 6 o'clock. This is when Mrs. Brown and Farmer Brown take a walk. Yeah, they take a walk at 7 o'clock. This is when Farmer and Mrs. Brown read the Bible together. Do you read the Bible before you go to bed? Do you read it at 8 o'clock like Farmer and Mrs. Brown? And this is when Farmer and Mrs. Brown go to sleep. What time do they go to sleep? You're right, 10 o'clock. That seems late, doesn't it? What are some nighttime activities that you do? We did talk about eat dinner. Pray. We brush our teeth again. and then we go to sleep. So we talked about our morning activities, our afternoon activities, or those activities that happen after 12 o'clock, and then we talked about our nighttime activities. Now we're going to practice writing the time. Can you tell me what time it says on my clock? Where is the hour hand pointing to? The 2. So it's 2 o'clock. Will you help me write a 2? 2 o'clock. What do you think I put here if I want to write 2 o'clock? You'll write a 2. And then my dot, dot. And what goes here? Do you remember from yesterday? 2 o'clock. What numbers do I put here? 0, 0. Can you say 2 o'clock? Great job. 2 o'clock. Do you think that's a morning activity, an afternoon activity, or a nighttime activity? If you guessed afternoon activity, you're right. Give yourself a pat on the shoulder. Let's keep practice writing how to say o'clock. Now, boys and girls, can you tell me what is 1 hour after 2 o'clock? So remember my clock. What is 1 hour after 2? 3. You're right. 3 o'clock. Let's write that. 3 o'clock. Can you say 3 o'clock? Good job. Now let's write it with numbers. We put our 3 here. Dot, dot, 0, 0. That's an afternoon activity. What's 1 hour after 3? What time is this? 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. What goes here? 4, 0, 0. What time does my clock say now? 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. Now, if 2 o'clock was the afternoon activity, 3 o'clock was an afternoon activity, 4 o'clock is an afternoon activity, and 5 o'clock, remember, sometimes when we have dinner, what kind of activity do you think that is? You're right, we said it was a nighttime activity, even though sometimes it's not dark when we eat dinner. 5 o'clock is part of a nighttime activity. What do you think comes after 5? 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. Does this show 6 o'clock? Are you sure? It does. Good job. The hour hand is pointing to the 6. How do I write 6 o'clock with numbers? 6, 0, 0. What comes next, do you think? What time does my clock say? 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. 7, dot, dot, 0, 0. And my last time for the evening, before I get ready for bed, is 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. 8, dot, dot, and what goes here? 0, 0. Great job, boys and girls. All right, boys and girls, now let's work on your math homework. It's in your packet that you received. Can you turn to the page that has 4 clocks and it has some sentences? Grown-ups, it's page 241 if you're able to help them. Okay, let's practice together. So the first clock shows a time, and the sentence says, let's read it together. I go to school at o'clock. What time does the clock say? Remember, we look at the hour hand. Where is the hour pointing? Your clock should look like this. 8 o'clock. Great job. Let's do the next one. It says, I eat lunch at o'clock. What time does the clock say? Go ahead and look at your paper. Does it look like this? What time is that? 12 o'clock. Story time is at o'clock. What time is story time at? Go ahead and look at that clock. And I'll show you on my clock too. What time is story time at? You're right, 1 o'clock. And I leave school at o'clock. What time do we leave school at? What time does that clock say? Where is the hour hand pointing? 3 o'clock. What kind of activity is going to school? If you go to school at 8 o'clock, what kind of activity is that? We go to school in the morning. What time or what kind of activity is story time? If it's at 1, it's after 12 o'clock. Afternoon activity. And what kind of an activity is going home or leaving school at 3 o'clock? If it's after 12. Afternoon activity. Great job. Let's go on to the next page together. Now we're on the next page. Let's look at those 3 clocks. It looks like we have to write what time it is. Let's look at the first clock. What time does it say? Let's look at the hour hand. Remember? Hour hand is the smaller one. Where is the smaller one pointing to? 3. So it's what time? 3 o'clock. Let's do the next one. What time does it say? I think your clock looks like this. Where is it pointing to? 5. It's 5 o'clock. Great job. And what about that last one? What time does the clock say it is? It's 9 o'clock. Great job. So the next part, you need a yellow and a blue crayon. Are you ready? Okay, so you need to color the picture of the daytime activity yellow. And now you need to color the nighttime activity blue. Go ahead and do that. Now the last part looks like it has some missing numbers. Can we work together to fill those in? Let's see. 10, 9. What do you think comes next? If you said 8, you're right. 8. What comes next? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, what's the last one? 1. Great job, kindergarten. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you next time.